Hello, children. How are you? I hope you are good today. I hope that you remember my last lesson uh, that was about unicellular and multicellular organisms. Today, what we are going to understand about flow of energy and information in the organisms. Okay, so first we will learn about flow of energy, and then we'll learn about flow of information. About flow of energy, we always know that every entity in this world, like every entity in this world, all the organisms tend to move, have a tendency to move towards the state of disorderliness. That means कि इस डिसऑर्डरलीनेस की तरफ ही वर्ल्ड में हर एक एंटिटी मूव करना चाहती है. दिस वर्ल्ड स्टेट ऑफ डिसऑर्डरलीनेस इज कॉल्ड entropy. This is called entropy. So every entity, it's according to second law of thermodynamics. You will learn in physics about it. That second law of thermodynamics says that every entity, in the same way, the organisms in this world, all the organisms in this world, move towards, have a tendency to move towards disorderliness or entropy. But for keeping them in order, to keep the organisms in order, this system, the organism as a system, or the other systems in the world, or the other entities in the world, tend to have what? Tend to move towards, they need to move towards the state of stability. That means for that, how they do this, how do they attain this? That means in order to maintain the organization, in order to maintain the organization, at cellular level, first at molecular level, okay, molecular level, then at cellular level, and at organism level. That means in order to maintain the stability, in order to maintain the organization at molecular level, cellular level, and organism level. What does this mean, molecular level, cellular level, and organism level? Like all the organisms need to remain stable in order to sustain their life. But for to remain stable, they need to decrease the entropy. But their natural tendency is to increase the entropy. But the system needs to, we need to decrease the entropy of the system so that the life will sustain, so that the organization at the molecular level, that means at the DNA level, at the RNA level, at the protein level, okay, and at the cellular level, that means in cells, the organization in the cells will remain intact, and in the higher level, that means the organism level, will remain intact. For that, all the systems, that means all the organisms, need to decrease the entropy, How do the systems or organisms decrease their entropy? This decrease in entropy only happens by applying energy from outside. That means all the systems are compelled to collect energy from outside their system and take it inside and continuously use it, okay, to maintain this organization. What does this mean? ये आप लोगों को थोड़ा सा, आप लोगों को ट्रिकी लग रहा होगा यहाँ पे कि सर बोल क्या रहे हैं. मैं आपको समझाऊंगा. What I am trying to make you understand is that मैं आपको इस चीज की एग्जांपल एक दूंगा. जैसे हमारे पास कुछ ब्रिक्स है, ठीक है, ये जमीन पे एक ब्रिक्स पड़ी हुई है ऐसे. हम इनको बोलेंगे कि ये ऑर्डर में है? नो, वी से दैट दे आर नॉट इन ऑर्डर. ओके, once we apply some work on them, that means we do some work on them, we put them in stack. okay, in an orderly manner. This way, we make a stack of these bricks by applying some external energy on them, okay, and they become stable. The stack of these bricks is much stable than the pile of bricks present on the ground. Okay, so we applied some energy from outside on this system and make this system a stable system. Okay, in the same way, all the organisms need to come towards stability. How they do come to the stability? They need to decrease their entropy, because this is the nature of all the entities in the world to have a tendency to move towards increased entropy. That means increased state of disorderliness. But there is a balance in the world, in the you can say system, which happens. That means organisms itself work towards towards the stability, towards the organization. How do organization happen? They need to collect the energy from the outside, and then continuously use that energy so that they remain stable. How this happens, like in organisms, like we will say that in case of energy flow in organisms, we will make a flow chart here to make you understand that. We have a, okay, just a moment. We have a light source, okay, light in the form of photons, which is collected by chloroplast of the plant cell, okay. Chloroplast of the plant cell, and there happens photosynthesis. There happens photosynthesis. What does this photosynthesis do? It prepares food molecules for the plant and for other living beings in the world. Okay, so the light or photon energy from this, this is taken from outside. It moves towards the plant, inside the plant, collected by chloroplasts, and then a process happens which is called photosynthesis. Okay, that means this energy is utilized, and during this process this plant remains stable. It went towards entropy to less entropy, more entropy to less entropy. But here, after photosynthesis, we get nutrient molecules. We get nutrient molecules in the form of food. But in the food we have some bonds. Chemical bonds. Okay, those chemical bonds, what do they carry? They carry energy. Okay, so the animals get this energy from from the external source to remain stable, to go towards less entropy from these food molecules, the chemical bonds of food molecules. The chemical bond of food molecules is taken up, broken. The food is broken, chemical bonds break up, they release the energy. That energy is utilized by animals, where in animal cell ATP synthesis happen. Okay, that means the energy from the chemical breaking of chemical bonds of food energy is taken up by ATPs and stored there in ATPs. Once the body requires the energy, once the animal cells require the energy, जब animal cells को energy की requirement होती है for decreasing their entropy, they use these ATP molecules for that energy. I hope ये यहाँ पे आपको समझ आ गया होगा कि flow of energy कैसे होता है organisms में. ठीक है? So this is a flow chart wherein we'll be able to understand flow of energy in organisms. तो flow of energy organisms में normally यही होता है. For what? Flow of energy क्यों जरूरत है? Flow of energy इसलिए जरूरत है ताकि एक organization बनी रहे at molecular level भी, cellular level भी और organism level में भी. ठीक है. तो in order to sustain, in order to remain alive in this world, all the living organisms need to decrease their entropy a bit, so that, and for that purpose they need energy. The energy comes from external sources, like for plant cells this comes from light of the photons. So photons contain energy. This energy from the photons is trapped by chloroplasts in the plant cells, and then photosynthesis happens where neutral molecules are generated. Those neutral molecules are taken up by animals. Animals break those nutrients in their alimentary canal and then transfer that food energy from the bonds of the food is taken up by animal cells, and ATP synthesis happens. ATPs remain in there in the body. When energy is required, those ATPs break up and give us energy, give energy to the animal cells, and entropy is reduced. Okay, so in general, I would like to give you a more insight about entropy, because here we are actually trying to understand about entropy in perspective of organisms. But in general, I would like to give you more detail about entropy, like how to reduce the entropy. Entropy of a system can be reduced either by cooling the system, or compressing the system, or by freezing. No, we cannot say freezing. We'll say here by changing the state of a system. Okay, so we'll take them these one by one. Like by cooling the system, what happens? Like for example, we'll take example of any substance in the world. Okay, all the substances in the world are made up of, like we'll take some substance. All the substance in this world are made up of molecules. You know that. Okay. Oh, like if we cool down these molecules, what happens? Their kinetic energy. We'll take these steps one by one, and then let's make you explain. First, I'll make you understand the cooling. Okay. So, if we cool down this piece of some metal or piece of any substance, what happens? The kinetic energy of these molecules get reduced. Okay, once the kinetic energy of these molecules get reduced by cooling down, they will not move here and there freely. They will remain a bit more stable. Okay, they will not remain unstable. Okay, this is how cooling a system decreases the entropy of the system. Okay, number 2, मैं आप लोगों को ये समझाना नहीं चाहता था ये steps, but it will help you in other subjects as well. A bit more information. Okay, so by cooling the system, second was compressing. Compressing means by applying pressure. We can say, like for example, there is a tube. Okay, it has 2 pistons. One piston from this side, one piston from this side. Okay. It has some, let's say, gas molecules present inside. Once we apply force, pressure from outside to the pistons, the gas will get compressed. Okay, so once the gas gets compressed under pressure, it will remain more stable, because the molecules will come closer and get more packed together. Okay, so this is the application of energy from outside. Okay, from this side and this side, we are making the system to become more stable. Third is changing the state. Changing the state. Changing the state means changing from gas to liquid, okay, or from liquid to solid. We know liquid is more stable than gas. Why? It has molecules closely packed than gas. Gas is having more intermolecular space. Like we have gas, the molecules are like this, okay? They have more space to move here and there. They are not that much stable. So gas molecule is less stable than liquid. Once we can say change the state of gas to liquid, how do we do that? What is the process called? We call it condensation. We call it condensation. So by doing condensation, we change the state of gas to liquid. The liquid is more stable than gas. That means it's having less entropy. It's having less entropy. We denote this entropy. ये आप हमेशा याद रखो. This entropy is denoted by lambda. Sorry, by this this sign. Okay, delta. So this by condensation we change the state of gas to liquid for decreasing its entropy. In the same way, once we freeze the liquids, okay, they get converted into solids. Solids are more stable than liquids because their molecules are more packed than liquids, and they have less entropy. So this was all about flow of energy. I hope you have understood it now. Now we'll move towards flow of information now. Okay, so for flow of information, I'll just make an example of a cell. Okay, we have here something called membrane, because we know that this is the cell membrane and this is membrane receptors. This is membrane receptor. Each cell has a nucleus which contains DNA. DNA gets transformed into, you can say, RNA. We call it RNA, and RNA gives proteins. Okay, this receives information from outside and transfers it to inside cell. This is called, we call it cellular receptor. Okay, beta. So how flow of information happens in the cell or organism? It happens by two processes. One is called flow of genetic information, and another is called flow of extrinsic information. Okay, so the genetic information, you must have heard about it before as well. That means the proteins in specific proteins in a cell or an organism are formed from RNAs. RNA is formed from the information that it gets from DNA. Okay, and there are two processes involved. One is called the flow of information from DNA to RNA is called transcription, and then the information which the RNA has got from DNA goes to you can say ribosomes for synthesis of proteins. Okay, that process is called translation. Okay, so a synthesis of a specific protein depends upon the structure of DNA and the information which comes from the DNA. So the flow of genetic information is in the same way as I told you, from DNA to RNA to proteins. But there is now something called extrinsic information, flow of extrinsic information. What is this extrinsic information? That means the information which comes from outside the cell. So what kind of information is this? There are certain molecules in the system of an organism which are called hormones. Hormones actually provide the information from these are the you can say these are actually proteins. These hormones are actually proteins which remain present outside the cell, and they influence the formation of certain they influence the happening of certain biological activities inside the cell. So once the protein comes, they give information from the outside to the cell for performing certain different activities according to the need of the body. So this is about the flow of information in the system. I hope you have understood it now today. What is all about flow of energy and flow of information in the organisms. In the next coming lessons, we will be learning more about now eukaryotic and prokaryotic organisms, and then about eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. So I hope this was